tell me about what your thoughts are on Teranode and some of the up-and-coming technical developments and what that means for BSV.
I think the Teranode is a phenomenal success. I don't know that a lot of people quite realize just what it means just yet. Maybe a little bit of an aside. Having been in the industry for as long as I have been, one of the progressions that I've seen over time is how, in trying to deliver large-scale apps for the internet, we've moved from people like me having to go into physical data centers, which you might have seen jokes on the internet about people, wearing like jackets and stuff inside the ice cold data centers where you have to go and pull cables and rack physical servers up in order to get work done, right? Mm-hmm. We've come from that into the cloud, where you could easily scale out your infrastructure and start serving a really large customer base very quickly, mm-hmm. or basically have what is called elastic demand, right? The moment that you get slash dotted, as we used to say in the old days, when you get essentially, the idea is that somebody shares a link on a social media platform, the thing goes viral, and all of a sudden your system gets overwhelmed, right? Mm-hmm. And now you're losing traffic because your system can't keep up with it. So the solution for that, right, was, well, build your software in such a way that it scales by adding just one more copy of the software. Mm. So if you are in a data center, you would basically have to add one more physical machine to your infrastructure to get almost twice the throughput, or the ability to serve twice as many people, right? So this is what we call linear scaling. The cloud has made it much easier to scale linearly or horizontally. It's also called horizontal scaling. I'm going to talk a little bit about this horizontal and vertical scaling thing a bit, and try and keep it simple. The thing with Teranode, right, that Shadows has demonstrated is near linear horizontal scaling, which means that if you have one node, and it doesn't really matter. It doesn't matter if that one node, right, mm-hmm. from the point of view of the performance of the software, whether that one node can do 1 transaction per second, or whether that one node can do 10 transactions per second, doesn't really matter. What matters is that for every one node that you add on, you are basically multiplying the throughput close to the linear number of nodes. So if the first node was capable of handling 10 people per second, then the second node will be able to do almost 20. The third node will allow you to do almost 30, right? Mm-hmm. This ability to scale horizontally is crucial for scaling in general on the internet. If your software can't scale in this way, right, then it doesn't matter what you do. That was the big problem that needed solving, that got solved with Teranode. The analogous opposite of that is what we call vertical scaling, which means that I basically need bigger and bigger, one larger and larger machine in order to handle the thing. And by the time that I've got a really large $100,000 server that can handle my 1 million customers, I now add in another $100,000 server, but now I can still only handle 1.2 million customers. So the incremental, I've paid another $100,000. I've got 2 of these massive machines, but my software is so crappy that the increased ability to handle additional people is basically just 20%. Well, with what Shadows has achieved with his team, it's almost a 100%. Not quite, because it's theoretically not really possible, but it's so close that it is pretty much near 100% doubling, right? So if you, as a miner or somebody who builds infrastructure, wants to serve large volumes of customers, right? That's what you look for. That's what you need. And it doesn't matter whether or not your single node, or if one Teranode instance allows for 20,000 or 10,000 transactions per second. That is secondary concern. The big thing is how they are able to, with horizontal scaling, because think about it. Hundreds of thousands of servers go into the typical data center for one of the big boys, right? Mm-hmm. Hundreds of thousands of servers. Those things are bigger than football fields, man. The server farms, right? So That's how people scale out data and infrastructure on the internet. This Teranode fits into that model of scaling. It's economically well understood, and I can't overstate the achievement, the technical achievement of the Teranode in that sense. It's pretty amazing, pretty
Wow.
amazing.
And what's that going to mean in terms of transactions? Millions, billions, easily. Just keep adding another cluster on the edge.
Yeah, you just keep throwing more hardware at it, as the demand comes in. We've essentially solved the unbounded scaling problem.
Mm.
It's now a matter of tuning the software by the SV Node team. They've solved the problem of how to scale horizontally. That's what needed solving. Now it's a matter of throwing more hardware at it, and the incremental cost of hardware is relatively cheap compared to the economic benefit that you could potentially get from processing large volumes of transactions. Yeah.
Wow. My head's just about to blow up. That's amazing. Live on air, bang.